Another video of me. I don't know how to edit videos. So it's another video of me looking at my laptop. So Rishii Sunak and I can't even read that. His wife, whatever her name is, are worth, what's that? 730 million or $844 million. The net worth is roughly twice that of King Charles. Now, I don't believe that. That's bollocks. The one thing the British royal family are very, very good at is hiding their wealth. So, Rizzy's an oligarch, isn't he? I fear this guy for 2 or 3 reasons. The reason number one that I fear him is he looks good in a $1,000 suit. Reason number two that I fear him is he can read a teleprompter and he comes across okay on television. Third reason that I'm fearing him just now is he's disappeared. Since he came into power in the UK, you've not seen any press conferences. He's avoided all media as much as possible. Whereas his predecessor, Liz Truss, who I'm a bit obsessed with, was all over the media all the time. So I would have preferred if Liz had stayed in power because she was just so obviously incompetent and a nutter. Whereas Rizzy, I think he's got an air of competency about him. Now, Sunak worked as an analyst for the investment bank Goldman Sachs between 2001 and 2004. So he's an ex-Goldman Sachs banker. Is a banker the best person to put in charge of a country? I think there's a massive conflict of interest here. Let's think about it. He's going to have the heads up via the ministerial boxes as to what direction the UK's economy is going to go in. So it puts him in a incredible position for insider trading, doesn't it? Then you think, who does he work for? Does he work for the benefits of the people of the UK? Or is he going to try to get his $730 million fortune up over the billion mark? I think there's a conflict of interests. He shouldn't have been allowed to do the job because one thing you're guaranteed he's going to try to do is scam as much money into his pockets and into his mates' pockets as he possibly can. Excuse me. And they're all globalist puppets and they're all in the pocket of the American government. I've not heard what this guy's policy on the Ukraine is. On my other videos that I'm doing about geopolitics, I reckon the Ukrainian war is the biggest money laundering scam in history. There's an open checkbook from every country in Europe, especially America. It's not that America's in Europe, but they're just ramming the place with money. Where does the money go? It goes... Scotland even put £60 million into the Ukraine. I imagine if you were an investigative journalist and you decided to have a look to see where that £60 million went, I'll guarantee it's not ending up in the Ukraine. It'll be getting siphoned off to Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, BAE Systems and all the weapons manufacturers, absolutely guaranteed. Corrupt European and American politicians as well as corrupt Ukrainian politicians will be ramming as much of that cash into their pockets as they possibly can. Nobody's keeping an eye on it. There's no paper trail. But he's kept his mouth shut on the war in the Ukraine. Little Liz, she was jumping about, let's push a nuclear button and all this type of thing. So he's kept his mouth shut. He's disappeared from the main stage. So that bothers me again. I wanted a little Liz jumping about being a maniac. So our bankers are the best people to look after countries. The UK's economy is absolutely whacked. I told you a few days ago, my thinking on that one is because we whacked all that money over at the Ukrainian weapons and Europe sanctioned Russian energy, which Europe needed, which is great for American energy companies. It's great for American wet manufacturers, great for American industries. If Europe goes cold and factories shut down, that slack's got to get picked up someplace. They're not going to get the business back from China, but they could whack Europe so bad, especially Germany, that the money moves to America. Am I going bonkers? Maybe, I don't know. So, Rishii, ex-banker, worked for Goldman Sachs. He's going to, that's a great job for him. He's just going to stick as much dough into his pocket as he possibly can. Right, so here's another one. Mario Draghi. Now, he seems like I think he was a very, very intelligent guy. What he did was come into power in Italy, and 2 seconds, I'm doing a little video. I'm doing a YouTube upload. So he came into power in Italy, privatised the life out of everything. I believe he wasn't even elected as an Italian Prime Minister, like Rishii. He didn't have to face the electorate. So he was another one that worked for, right, another Goldman Sachs guy. See a partner developing. An unelected Prime Minister, same as Rishii Sunak, came into power in Italy and sold off all Italy's state-owned infrastructure. So that's 2 European politicians who are ex-bankers that ended up, without facing elections, running countries and privatising everything. Rishii will probably do the same thing. Right, Emmanuel Macron, guess what he did before? He actually did face a public vote, and was head of a political party. But another guy who was this Rothschild and what's that? CIE bank. He was another banker. So it looks to me like Europe's run, or certain parts of Europe, the bankers are getting their hands into publicly owned assets and the infinite well that is tax money. It just never runs out, doesn't it? Not so. What these guys will try to do is try to scam as much of that cash into private businesses. Mario Draghi, does he own shares in weapons manufacturers? Does he own shares in oil companies? Rishii Sunak, same thing. Little Emmanuel Macron, same thing. So, I don't know. The UK's economy is done. Mainly because Europe decided not to stop buying Russian energy. We're still buying it, but instead of buying it from Russia, we're now buying it off a third party, which makes the energy much more expensive. So I'll just finish this one up quickly with Liz Truss. I loved Liz Truss. Liz was just the most incompetent buffoon in living memory. Shocking. We should get her back into power in Downing Street as soon as possible. Liz, allegedly, according to internet chatter, the Russian military had hacked her phone, and they had hacked Ben Wallace, who's another guy I can't stand. The British Defence Secretary's phones, check that one out. The Russian military hacked the Prime Minister and the British Defence Minister's phones. That's James Bond shit right there, right? Apparently after the Nordstream pipeline bombings happened, Liz Truss sent Lloyd Austin a text message saying it's done. So I'm still convinced the government on the other side of the Atlantic were behind the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipelines. However, I think they might have got the Royal Navy to do it, or British Special Forces. If so, Britain has effectively declared war on Germany and Russia. Get your head around about that one. For the American government. So that shows you how much of a muppet Liz Truss was. Ben Wallace got a phone call from a guy called Sergei Shoigu. Sergei Shoigu is the head of the Russian Defence Ministry, and he does not look like a laugh-a-minute guy to me. Shoigu phoned about 5 or 6 of his contemporaries in the Turkish government, the British government, the American government. These people, Shoigu's not phoning up Lloyd Austin to say, how you doing, Lloyd? He's phoning up Lloyd Austin to say, keep that shit up, bad stuff's going to happen. So he phoned Ben Wallace. After he phoned Ben Wallace, Wallace flew to America to talk to Lloyd Austin in person. My gut feeling in that one is, wait for this, Ben Wallace's phone had been hacked. So the reason he flew to America was so he could have a channel with Lloyd Austin, so nobody could listen to his phone. So are bankers the best people to run the countries? Nah. They've got too many vested interests and try to steal money from taxpayers and nationalising public-owned businesses. Not nationalising, privatising public-owned businesses. As for Liz Truss and Ben Wallace, they should be in court facing charges. If it was the Royal Navy that blew up the Nordstream pipelines for the Americans, Germany should shut all diplomatic channels and ties to the UK and demand reparations, as should Russia. And again, if Sergei Shoigu's phoning you up, man, take that shit seriously. Alrighty, right, there we go. Some geopolitics for your old Uncle Dog. Thanks all for watching. Bye.